Hi YouTube, Sal, I'm back. So, I don't know if you watched my previous video, but I have two window capping jobs to do. And one of them's for a guy that I do side work for, a handyman service. It's about 15 miles from my house. I bid the job for him for $250. He has to make money on top of it. So it's 3 windows in a row. One of his employees removed the old rotted wood, put new 1x wood in there, so I just had to cap off the exposed wood with aluminum coil stock. Out of that $250, I have 15 feet of coil stock, which breaks down to be about $30 in material. I have 2 tubes of caulk, which are $20 in caulk. So I'm $50 into the job, and I have 3 hours into it. I have roughly an hour driving out there, looking at it, measuring it, talking to the customer. I have another hour into it, bending the metal at home. And the third hour is going out there and installing it. I'm pretty experienced at what I'm doing, so to me it's not that big of a deal. But basically what it breaks down to, if I had to pull that money out of that $50 out of my pocket, I would have did the job for $200. Even at $200, I would have made roughly $67.
Per hour.
And that's not bad. Fortunately for me, I had the coil stock in my shed from a previous job. I had 2 tubes of caulk left over from a previous job, but that's not always the case. If you had to buy a box of coil stock, it's roughly about $100 at a big box store like Home Depot. A case of caulk, the caulk I use, is about $10 a tube at a supply house. You can buy individual tubes. Normally I buy a case. It's a case of I believe 9. So you know, there's another $90 out of pocket. I couldn't have done the job for $250 if I had to pull all that money out of the pocket, but I did have it and it worked out pretty good. Now, the other guy has to put his money on top, but me personally, if I would have did that for myself, it would have been a $350 to $400 job for me to cap the windows. Maybe another $100 for me to demo out the wood and put new 1x's up. It really wasn't that fancy of a job because you're covering it anyway. So, but yeah, just give you a little tidbit on another day, another $250 in my pocket. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is a little bit of how I wrap jobs and how I cap windows and how everything worked out. So, enjoy. Okay, so we'll step back. We'll take a look at the job. This is what the job is. Previous crew came in, pulled out a lot of the old wood, framed in the new wood. I'm here wrapping it. Talked to the homeowner about seeing if I could do something special with it instead of a standard wrap job, so we went with this special crown molding type bend. I don't get the opportunity to do this that often, so here we are. Right here, what I always like to do is I start with the windowsill first. Luckily for this one, I was able to keep that all solid. I like putting a bend up the top. It gives me something nice to caulk to, and a little bit added protection from the weather. You can see under here that metal goes all the way to the back. I put a trim nail in that area there. It will be covered. by the metal. Same thing here. This piece here is solid. So you start with the windowsill, then you do your upright sections, and then ultimately you finish off with your header or cap. So that's where we're at right now. I'll pause the video. I'll get these middle sections prepped, and then we're going to nailing it up and finally caulking it. Okay. So I'll illustrate what's going on. I set my length here. What I like to do is, let's see if we're getting this in the video. I mark for the windowsill on the bottom. I transfer this information. It allows me to notch for here and cut the bottom, and then I do a 45 or a miter cut. It's best to leave this all solid for water protection and a cleaner finish. That's what we're doing. Sometimes it's best to use your shears. Sometimes it's best to use a straight blade. That'll be determined on the fly and in a situation. So we do our snips over here, line up our cut, turn that out of the way, clean cut across. If you're not comfortable with a straight blade, shears are the way to go. I just recently started using these Milwaukee's. They're very comfortable. Like how to keep your hands out of danger from getting cut. Whenever you're cutting any aluminum, try not to finish the cut off. Now we're going to go up to the top. We're going to mark up there with a pencil. There, so we know what's going on. This we're looking for that transition where that board is. We're going to notch this. This will go up, that other piece will cover it. We don't have to worry about water and overlapping. Water ever getting behind our material. Right here we have to remove from this cut up. This is a good example of when your straight blade will come in handy. Take your knife in there, score it. Once it has that score in there, there's a crease. Just like a piece of paper, wiggle jiggle it, it'll break loose. This will provide a clean edge for the side. Okay. Now we're doing the same thing with this section. We're dropping it down bottom. We're going to come up here. We're going to mark the top. Top's going to represent the top of this metal. Now what we're going to do is we're going to leave about a ½ inch higher than this mark, so you don't see this on that, so we don't have to rely on too much caulk. So we'll pop that down, get our shears, snap, snap, I was here. I cut it just to the top and the header piece didn't come down and cover it up. I didn't want to put caulk in there. I thought it would look kind of nasty. So that's what we're doing instead. That's what we're doing instead. We're going to extend the piece up a little higher like a flapper. So that we don't have to worry about that. There we go. Dry fit everything. I like the way it all looks. We pop it out, we caulk it. Seal everything off. Wood for the window. This way, if anything gets behind our metal, it's not an immediate concern. All the sealant's doing the functional part, and the metal is making it look aesthetically pleasing. Alright, sealing really good. That's a nice snug fit. I'm happy with it. Off to the next one. Okay, caulking around this part of the windowsill is one of the most important parts you could do. Even though the metal does go completely underneath there, it had to go in there flat. It doesn't have one of these lips like this. So any water that gets trapped in there or rolls back in there could get behind the windows and the walls. So you want to seal them off, make sure they're good shape. Other than that, it's all pretty straightforward. I'll get back to work. I'll show you the end result. So here it is, it's all done. Got the windowsill in. That's all sealed up. Got all the uprights in, got the header piece in. I had to seal the very top of the window and the bottom of the siding in to ensure water doesn't penetrate in. But everything's caulked up, looking pretty good. That's that. Have a good one.